Okay, we're here with Johnny Stevens. A year ago, we did the same thing, Johnny, and there was only 4 people: yourself, me, Chungo. I think it might have been Carmen too, and Yesenia. But today we got a little bit more people.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about today.
Oh, today is urgent. Today we are at Hunter College, and we're going to be leaving from here, dealing with the question and informing the students and workers of what's happening in Puerto Rico and the need to decolonize it. The real help with all the issues that's going on is to decolonize Puerto Rico. And right now at the UN, they're meeting with people from all over the country and from Puerto Rico, is meeting on the question demanding decolonization of Puerto Rico. So we're going to march from Hunter College. We're passing out literature now. We're talking to people. We're giving interviews. We're informing people. But we want people to know what's going on. And we want to bring people up to date with very important issues that's happening now in Puerto Rico. We don't want to let people know that FEMA, the Federal Management Assistance Program, has just evicted. For June 30th, they will evict 17,000 people from their houses, on top of a crisis that's left with Maria, and now you have a government agency say they're going to evict people here. So I think everyone at this college and their homes in the Bronx, all over New York, we should get together and demand that these people get housing right away. So it's that issue, also the issue of that very important work at the UN.
What do you think the United Nations should do, being that they continue to issue resolutions this year? I'm sure there'll be one more, 37. And being that the United States continues to ignore these resolutions, don't you think that the UN should have a plan B, being that plan A is not working? Well, what do you think about that?
Well, most of all, I think is that we, community organizations, students, unions, workers from all over the Caribbean, we should demand that the UN implement this right away. See, we have to push the UN, you know what I'm saying? It would be my idea to next year to call for a general strike on a day like this. So the unions from Puerto Rico and from all over the country could come and demand, because those are workers in Puerto Rico. Those are students, those are family. But the answer to your question, the resolution is taking place and people is getting a chance to participate, but the question of implementation got to be made right away. And if you're not going to implement it before, because decolonization is still, the colonization of Puerto Rico is a crime. So what are you waiting on implementing this? 100 and something years, what are you waiting on? And now you have a crisis, like what happened with Maria, the storm. Now you got a crisis where we heard 4,645 people, as we know of, is dead. We had a crisis where we heard that 1,000 people are burying people in their backyards in Puerto Rico. What are you waiting on? This must be implemented. This is genocide. This is genocide. So we have to put a greater demand on the UN by right now, demanding it today, and have a continuous campaign year-round, because the situation is dire.
Any last message before we end the interview?
Viva Puerto Rico.
Gracias. Ok, soy José Manuel López Sierra de Compañeros Unidos para la Descolonización de Puerto Rico e Información al Desnudo. Estamos hoy, lunes 18 de junio, aquí en Hunter College, la 68 Lexington Avenue, para empezar nuestra quinta marcha Oscar Mandela hacia el Ralph Bunche Park. Y aquí tenemos la presidenta del comité, Oscar Mandela, Loaiza Rivera. Loaiza, buenos días.
Buenos días, José, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien. Dinos cómo tú ves este ambiente hoy, esperamos mucha gente, ¿qué nos puedes decir?
Bueno, nos falta 10 minutos para las 12 y espero que sí, que vengan bastante más gente. Tenemos aquí muchos compañeros que participan con nosotros en diferentes acciones y diferentes luchas, y eso es lo importante, que esté el pueblo aquí, esté la gente aquí, para alentar el resto del pueblo y el resto de la gente que no están conscientes de lo que está pasando hoy. Pues por eso nosotros marchamos más bien porque hay conciencia de la hoy mucha gente no sabe, las Naciones Unidas tienen las vistas sobre el caso colonial de Puerto Rico. Y esa es una de las razones más grandes por las que marchamos, para crear conciencia sobre esas vistas, pero también para apoyar la descolonización inmediata de Puerto Rico.
Okay, we're here with Loaiza Rivera. She's the president of the Oscar Mandela Committee in New York City, and this is our 5th march to the Ralph Bunche Park. Loaiza, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Okay, how do you see the activity thus far?
Well, we have various comrades that have showed up today. Most of the comrades that are usually in the struggle with us and come out and do different actions and demonstrations. And that's what's important, that we have people coming out and supporting the action. We're marching today to the UN in support of the immediate decolonization of Puerto Rico. Most people, but also to create awareness. Most people are not aware that every year the United Nations has a meeting to discuss the colonial case of Puerto Rico. And if more people were aware, we would have a lot more people here and a lot more people pressuring the United States to follow international law and to follow the UN will and resolutions. So that's why we march. We march to create awareness, but also in support of the immediate decolonization of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a UN charter that prohibits colonialism, and then there's 36 UN resolutions asking the U.S. government to immediately return Puerto Rico sovereignty to Puerto Ricans. You would think that the United Nations, after doing Plan A for so many years and not accomplishing decolonization of Puerto Rico, why are they not looking for Plan B? Because if you continue to do what you've always done, you'll continue to get what you always got. And, you know, why are we not stepping it up like my idea in 2015 about why don't we broadcast live those hearings, and we had to push them. They are going to be broadcast live today, but we had to twist their arm, and you know, I think that's the problem. They don't want to do a Plan B because they just want to continue with this Plan A that only serves the U.S. government. What do you have to say about that, if you have any?
Yeah, well, from what I've seen, and most importantly, from what I have learned here in the United States in public school, is that the United States was founded from the 13 colonies, and the 13 colonies had to go to war against England, against Great Britain, for their own independence, supposedly because they were colonies, even though they were occupying other people. But at the time, they were colonies of Great Britain, and the only way that they were able to get their independence was to stand up against that other nation. And I think that's the main reason why people aren't looking for other options, why they're not, and by people I mean the United Nations and ambassadors and other nations, they're not, while we have people that do speak out for Puerto Rico, many people I feel do not, because what it's going to take is basically another nation standing up to the United States for Puerto Rico. You know, mostly for the fact that Puerto Rico doesn't have the military power or the economic power to really be able to stand up to the U.S. itself. We're struggling when we're asking for our independence, but if we were to really stand up to the United States, I'm pretty sure our little archipelago would be destroyed pretty quickly. And that's what it would take from other nations. It would take another nation in the UN, hopefully a nation in the Committee of 24 and the Committee of Decolonization of the UN, to stand up really at the General Assembly and say, listen, I'm saying that, you know, the United States, you know, we're not going to take this anymore. And for someone really, I understand they pass resolutions, but it's that next step that people are afraid of, and understandably so. It's the U.S.
Okay, I know we're getting ready to do the marching. It's about 8 more minutes. So thank you very much, and hope you have a successful protest.
Thank you.
Good morning, and what is your name?
Hello, my name is Richard Guerra. I am a part of Urban Community Solutions. I am a Cuban American, actually. I was born in Miami, Florida, but what happened was my mom got accepted into Hofstra Law, so I've been here for about almost 11 years now, and I came here because I had a friend of mine named Loaiza Rivera, and
she's the president of the Oscar Mandela Committee.
Yes. And she told me all about the issues on the colonial crisis in Puerto Rico, and so I became interested in it because I figured I know that Cubans and Puerto Ricans fought alongside each other during the Spanish-American War, so I figured maybe having a Cuban like me involved would be a good idea, and maybe I can discuss some ideas of what I think Puerto Rico should do maybe.
And we have someone that has defend Puerto Rico. What is your name and why are you here?
My name is Jason Corley, and I think it's important for working people here and everywhere to solidarize, show solidarity with the people of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico deserves better. Their history of struggle, nevertheless, will help bring them out of this situation. People in Puerto Rico have not been mere helpless victims. They've been working together to rebuild roads, to reestablish electricity, and the thing that they need from us is our solidarity, our support, our demand to the U.S. government that it cancel all debts. I think personally that's a main demand. Whether one is for statehood, independence, or continued colonial status, the debt should be canceled. But then I would also add that another thing that we need to do, and this is one of the main things that brings me out here today, and I believe many others as well, is the right for Puerto Rico to determine its own destiny. Independence is a necessity, and it is definitely an option that the people of Puerto Rico have a right to try to establish. And that's why I'm here today, to demand the right to self-determination, demand the opportunity for Puerto Ricans in a real referendum to vote on the independence issue, and to put forward that all debts should be canceled.
Good morning. Thank you everybody for coming out. I appreciate everybody showing their support. Se lo agradezco a todo el mundo que salió hoy a dar su apoyo por la descolonización de Puerto Rico. Necesitamos unos voluntarios que carguen el cartel al frente.
Independencia.
¡Para Puerto Rico!
Independencia.
¡Para Puerto Rico! ¡Para Puerto Rico!
Right there. Okay. All right.
Decimos no. No. No nos pararán ni decimos no.
No.
No nos pararán ni los demócratas no. No. No nos pararán y decimos no.
No.
No nos pararán ni de quien no crea que haga la prueba. No nos pararán.
Independencia para Puerto Rico. Independencia
Para Puerto Rico.
Independencia
Para Puerto Rico.
Independencia
Para Puerto Rico.
¿Cuándo es?
Ahora es.
¿Cuándo es?
Ahora es.
¿Cuándo es?
Ahora es.
USA.
Out of Puerto Rico.
USA.
Out of Puerto Rico.
USA.
Out of Puerto Rico.
USA.
Out of Puerto. Para Puerto Rico. Out of Puerto Rico. Out of Puerto Rico. Out of Puerto Rico. Is a crime. Crime. Occupation is a crime.
Para Puerto Rico.
Para Puerto Rico. Para Puerto Rico. Out of Puerto Rico. Out of Puerto Rico. Out of Puerto Rico. Out of Puerto Rico. Entrega no. Entrega no. Entrega. Para Puerto Rico. 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 No la vamos a pagar.
Es que es verdad.
No la vamos a pagar. Para Puerto Rico.
USA.
Out of Puerto Rico. 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 Ahora es. Ahora es.
no nos parará. Decimos
No,
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 no nos parará. Decimos no,
no, no.
no nos parará.
El que no crea que hagan la prueba.
No nos parará. USA,
Out of Puerto Rico,
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 USA!
out of Puerto Rico, out of Puerto Rico,
USA!
out of Puerto Rico.
Democracy, hypocrisy, Puerto Rico free. Your democracy, hypocrisy, Puerto Rico free. Your democracy, hypocrisy, Puerto Rico free. Your democracy,
Hypocrisy.
Puerto Rico free. Your democracy, hypocrisy, Puerto Rico free. Your democracy, hypocrisy, Puerto Rico free.
Out of Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico,
USA,
out of Puerto Rico,
USA.
out of Puerto Rico,
¡Arriba! ¡Abajo! ¡Arriba! ¡Abajo!
Puerto Rico, out of Puerto Rico, out of Puerto Rico, para Puerto Rico, para Puerto Rico, out of Puerto Rico, out of Puerto Rico, para Puerto Rico, qué bonita bandera, qué bonita bandera, la bandera puertorriqueña.
Más bonita se viera,
¡Más bonita se ve!
más bonita se viera, más bonita se viera, más bonita se viera, si los yanquis no la
Rico,
USA.
out of Puerto Rico,
Esa deuda ilegal no la vamos a pagar. Esa deuda ilegal
¡No la vamos a pagar!
esa deuda.
vamos a pagar.
Independencia,
Para Puerto Rico,
independencia,
para Puerto Rico,
independencia,
para Puerto Rico,
independencia.
para Puerto Rico. Entrega no, entrega, entrega.
Aquí también, compañeros y compañeras, gracias al Oscar Mandela Community por la planificación de la marcha. También queremos informarles que hay un frente en la ciudad de Nueva York de independentistas que está en el día de hoy convocando a que cada tercer lunes de mes estemos aquí frente a las Naciones Unidas como un acto más de una jornada pidiendo la descolonización de Puerto Rico para la independencia.
Qué bueno.
El primer rally que
Excelente.
tendremos después del día de hoy va a ser el 16 de julio. Y luego el 20 de agosto pueden seguirnos en las redes sociales para dar información. Va a ser un rally como hemos hecho en diferentes situaciones que ha tenido Puerto Rico, donde constantemente tengamos una jornada de trabajo de una vez al mes. Nos reunamos los independentistas, que las personas que vienen a la ciudad puedan venir aquí para denunciar ante la ONU la descolonización y exigir la descolonización y que suban el caso de Puerto Rico a la
Asamblea General.
Muy bien.
A las 5 de la tarde. 5 de la tarde. Son 120 años de coloniaje norteamericano. 5 siglos de coloniaje, 120 años bajo el imperio norteamericano. No nos quieren, necesitamos la descolonización. No queremos ninguna deuda. La deuda se resuelve independizando a Puerto Rico. Y por eso estamos...
La deuda se resuelve independizando a Puerto Rico. La deuda se resuelve independizando a Puerto Rico.
¡Independencia!
Para Puerto Rico.
¡Independencia!
Para Puerto.
Además, Norma, queremos agradecer a toda la gente que se dieron la tarea hoy de venir y salir en un día exhaustivo, caluroso, sí, pero no echar de menos nuestra labor como patriotas, como puertorriqueños y como humanitarios. Claro. Porque no solamente estamos aquí para criticar el coloniaje ni el pillaje, estamos aquí también para dejarle saber al mundo que los Estados Unidos fue partícipe de un genocidio utilizando la guerra ambiental contra el pueblo puertorriqueño para así salir con sus intereses económicos y seguir sacrificando a la nación puertorriqueña, desplazándolos y dejándolos moribundos después de un fenómeno atmosférico que fueron creados por ellos mismos, porque todos sabemos aquí que Harvard existe y opera en Puerto Rico, y eso es una realidad. Y estamos aquí frente a las Naciones Unidas para dejarle saber al mundo que Puerto Rico es una nación y tiene su derecho a ser libre y soberano como todas las naciones que tienen ahí partícipe en el C24 y en todas las cosas que ellos hacen anualmente, los summits, el G2 y todo aquello. Si Puerto Rico es bueno para la salsa y para todo lo bueno, también es bueno para ser libre y soberano. Claro.
¡Independencia!
Para Puerto.
Ha sido un día más de trabajo en el Comité de Descolonización de las Naciones Unidas, pero esto es una vez al año, es un peregrinaje importante, mantiene el tema de Puerto Rico ante la comunidad internacional, pero cada cual desde nuestra trinchera tenemos que hacer lo propio todo el año. Yo creo que es un adelanto inmenso el que las organizaciones independentistas en Nueva York hayan decidido actuar de forma conjunta, así que todos los tercer lunes de mes, si están de vacaciones por acá en Nueva York, si tienen familia acá, invitan a que estén aquí un ratito. El próximo es el día 16 de julio, cada tercer lunes de mes a las 5 de la tarde. Esta va a ser la convergencia, la reunión de los hermanos y hermanas independentistas, y allá en la isla también a seguir haciendo nuestro trabajo. Educando a los estadounidenses sobre la necesidad de la independencia para Puerto Rico, sobre nuestra lucha por la soberanía, y todos los días a levantarnos con ese orgullo de trabajar por la libertad de nuestra patria. ¡Que viva Puerto Rico libre!
¡Viva! ¡Independencia!
Para Puerto.
Saludos, compañeros.
Gracias.
Me llamo Jihad Abdul-Mamid, the chairperson of the National Jericho Movement to free all political prisoners. Just for the record, we support all political prisoners. We supported the FALN prisoners. Oscar Lopez is my comrade and my co-defendant on the case for the Leavenworth, where we tried to free ourselves from the bondage of captivity at Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary. So, that is myself. We just want to make for the record that we support the independence of Puerto Rico. Colonialization is common throughout the world. We're living in a nation that is the host, that is the #1 colonizer, this superpower called the United States of America. So it is the job and the responsibility of us who live here, myself, a citizen of this country, to make sure that we do our best to support the independence and the freedom fighters and sisters and brothers in Puerto Rico. All power to the people, free all political prisoners. All to the people, free all.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Yo creo que antes que nada hay que darle gracias a las hermanas y hermanos de la diáspora que consistentemente siguen haciendo esta actividad. Gracias, porque a pesar de lo difícil que es para ustedes vivir acá, no olvidan a su patria y no olvidan la lucha por la independencia. Hemos estado en muchas actividades en los pasados días, y yo creo que hay algo bien importante que nos debemos de llevar los que vivimos en Puerto Rico y que deben de quedarse ustedes. y es la necesidad de arreciar la lucha. Es indispensable que en todos los puntos donde hayan comunidades puertorriqueñas, tanto en Puerto Rico como fuera de Puerto Rico, arreciemos la lucha y pongamos la presión necesaria para que el gobierno de los Estados Unidos entienda de una vez y por todas que su tiempo en Puerto Rico se acabó, que nosotros somos un país, una nación capaz de administrarnos nosotros mismos y que nosotros estamos decididas y decididos a construir un futuro libre e independiente del dominio colonial. Muchas gracias, se acabaron las promesas.
Good afternoon, my people, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for coming out here and joining our movement. Our first third Monday of the month that we're meeting here at the United Nations. If you missed our march earlier, it was pretty exciting. We crossed the street and we got a little repression from not knowing that we weren't supposed to walk over there. But you can catch it on Facebook, Oscar Mandela Committee and Call to Action. The most important thing is that we're here, estamos presentes. Como la compañera Jocelyn dijo, even in the diaspora, we will never forget our roots. I was just saying this to a friend a couple of days ago. We grow up here, we came out here, we've been living here for 20 years, and you forget, you sometimes even lose your Spanish accent. And then when you're speaking English, all of a sudden your voice cracks, and your Spanish accent comes through. And no matter where you are, you could be at work, you could be at school, you could be at a federal building, you could be in court. You remember where you come from. And I told my friend that even if we lived on the moon, our Boricua roots and our Boricuaness would still come out of us. It would pour out of our pores because we are Boricua from the heart. And even in the diaspora, everywhere around the world, we must fight for the independence of Puerto Rico. The independence of Puerto Rico will be only another step in ending colonialism worldwide. When we say from Puerto Rico to Palestine, occupation is a crime, we really mean that. And all people everywhere, Puerto Rico, Palestine, Guam, our brothers and sisters out in Guam, we cannot forget about them either right now. But we must put an end to colonialism, especially here in front of the United Nations. They know better. They wrote the international laws, and they know international law says that colonialism is a crime. And the United States is committing a crime against humanity. ¡Que viva Puerto Rico libre!
¡Que viva!
¡Independencia!
¡Para